This is Blue Star, Defender of Equestria, and my next topic will be the Royal Guard and their unfortunate failure during Canterlot Wedding. Bummer. So anyway, first off, exactly what purpose do the Royal Guard serve? Oh, you might think, well, they're the military, but their armor seems very aesthetic and pretty and nice, which, I mean, it's gold and it's beautifully detailed and everything. It screams to me more ceremonial guard, kind of like the Beefeaters, as I believe they're called, the Palace Guard. That's that guard Buckingham Palace. That they're really there to be more of a ceremonial presence rather than an actual real military. I mean, I believe that the Beefeaters are actual real members of the military and very, very, very capable of fighting. Must admit I haven't really looked into this, but yeah, I think that the Royal Guard are more ceremonial. They probably only exist in Canterlot. So, this raises two questions. Well, if this is true, does this mean that there's a general equestrian army somewhere that we haven't seen? Or do the Royal Guard exist everywhere? But either way, I actually don't think the Royal Guard are very threatening. I mean, we've never seen them in a really threatening, I will kick your butt kind of thing. I mean, when we first see them actually try to fight, we see them fight Nightmare Moon, and, well, frankly, they were going to lose no matter what they did, but they kind of felt like slow, lumbering, flying tanks with no weapons. I don't know what they were going to try to do to Nightmare Moon, if they were going to, nibble her to death or something, but they really didn't look threatening. I mean, Rainbow Dash would have been a lot more threatening because she can fly really, really crazy fast, and she looks threatening when she flies fast. The Royal Guard do not. I'm going to assume because, A, they're not Rainbow Dash, and B, they're wearing this big, heavy armor, and maybe it inhibits their ability to fly, but yeah, they don't look threatening to me. I would not be afraid of them in a fight, to be honest. Maybe that'll change. Maybe we'll see an episode where we actually get to see them fight and see that they are a force to be reckoned with. Which brings me to A Canterlot Wedding, where everybody fails. Bummer. But yeah, I mean, yeah, the Royal Guard completely fail in this episode. It's like a lot, I must admit, I think it's like, where the heck are they? What happened to all the Royal Guard? They had such a massive presence in the first part of this. They were everywhere. There was 2 stationed outside the shield. There was like 10, 20 guys at the train station. There was like 20 guys along the ramparts. Where did everybody go? Did they get kidnapped by the changelings or something? I must admit, I have this one thought of that, the changelings somehow kidnapped each one of the Royal Guard. It's like, hey, what happened to Joe? He seems acting strangely. I don't know, he seemed fine. I saw him go behind that dark alley over there, and he seems different after that. And then one of them walks over to the alley and gets kidnapped by a changeling, and a changeling replaces him and says, oh, I'm fine. What's up with you? And one by one, they all, kidnap all the Royal Guard until it's, only, 10 or 20 left. Which I don't think is true, but it's just fun. Again, I mean, the thing with Canterlot Wedding, this was not something that was going to be resolved with military force. The military, Celestia, the main 6, everybody who was going to try to fight with fists and everything and weapons was gonna fail. Because, again, this is not the My Little Pony way. This is not the message they're trying to send that, oh, we overcome our problems by beating other people up, even when they're trying to beat us up first. That's not the My Little Pony way. And honestly, that's not a good message to be sending to little kids. Even though in our world, yes, sometimes the answer is we have to go and, beat people up, and sadly, yes, shoot and kill other people before they shoot and kill us. That's just simply the cold hard reality of our world, and to deny otherwise is just foolhardy. But doesn't mean that we should be sending this message to little kids, especially little girls. But anyway, I'm still disappointed that we didn't get to see the Royal Guard do something other than get captured and tied up. I mean, I'm glad. It appears to me that, again, in My Little Pony way, that the Royal Guard were not killed. But raises an other interesting question, that the Royal Guard were armed with spears, which is a pretty lethal weapon. I mean, obviously they were going to use them on the changelings. Does that mean that some of the changelings were speared to death? So that presents an obvious problem there as well. It's like, oh, we've just given them a reasonably lethal weapon, but on the other hand, we've given the Pegasi no weapons at all. So it becomes kind of hard for the Royal Guard to be lethal, but not lethal. So they're kind of in a contradiction sort of there. But I still like the Royal Guard. I mean, the Royal Guard is a pretty cool thing. Hey, I made my OC is a member of the Royal Guard. In fact, my OC actually, I think, mostly came about because of Canterlot Wedding. I mean, certainly for me, this was a very good episode for me, a very favorite episode of me, because I have to admit, yes, I liked the action. I liked this idea of Canterlot being under attack, because I know exactly where I would be. I would be at the foot of those stairs where the main six are, and I would want to be fighting off all those changelings and giving them the time to get to the elements of harmony and just protect the main six and do what I can for them. But of course, every character fails in this regard, so that was kind of sad. So I would be just like the Royal Guard, tied up and like, I'm so sorry, Twilight, I failed you. Which brings me back to where my origin for my OC came from, where, a long story short, that a guard, after Canterlot Wedding, basically goes to a riverbend, just sort of like the riverbend where, unfortunately, Blue Star's father passed on in the same kind of way. And Rainbow Dash, on a boating trip with the main six, who also isn't wearing a life jacket, capsizes almost on the same rock that his father died in, and he has to pull Rainbow Dash from the river. And then after that, they have a big, long, like, discussion and everything. And we learn that he gets he's upset. He's almost suicidally depressed over what happened in Canterlot Wedding. I mean, he's a member of the Royal Guard. His job was to defend Canterlot and Celestia, and he failed. The Guard failed. Everybody failed. And they let them down. He felt like he let them down. And, I mean, I would feel that way too. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, this is your job in life. This is what you've sworn your life to defend, and you failed to defend it. I mean, it wasn't anyone's fault. It just happened. But yeah, I mean, poor guy. I mean, I would be depressed. I mean, imagine you're a beefeater, and you're trying, and all of a sudden there's this massive terrorist attack, and you're defending it as best you can, and bullets are flying and stuff, but no matter how hard you fight, they're still coming, and you keep falling back and falling back and falling back, and oh my gosh, they're in like the throw room, and before you know it, oh my gosh, they've taken the Queen hostage. But unfortunately, the Air Force fly overhead and drop some like new sort of special bomb that somehow like disables everybody and knocks everybody out for like an hour in the palace. And you wake up an hour later and everybody tells you, oh, don't worry, the Queen's fine, everything's great, we captured all the terrorists, everything's good. You'd be happy, but you'd be really, really depressed at the same time because, dang, I failed. This is my job. This is what I've sworn to do, and I couldn't do it. Which, I have to admit, I kind of understand a little bit, because a lot of times at work, I'll try to do something, and I'll fail. For a variety of reasons. Sometimes because I'm just too tired, or I can't figure this out, or it's something beyond my control. So I understand that. Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting motivation, but yeah, the Royal Guard must have really been depressed. They probably definitely needed some post-traumatic stress syndrome relief or something at the end of Canterlot Wedding, because, you know, they failed, but it wasn't their fault. It was basically part of the story. Maybe the Royal Guard are stronger than that. Maybe they realized, hey, you know what, we were outnumbered, we did our best, and, you know, it wasn't our fault. We failed not because we weren't strong. We failed because we were just a little outmatched in this one case, or they got the upper hand, or something like that. And maybe that's probably what the Royal Guard think. But it would be interesting to see the Royal Guard and do something more than just fly around and, well, honestly, be guards. Being a Royal Guard would actually probably be pretty boring, because, you know, your job would basically be, okay, stand on the ramparts and stare over at that wall, and if someone does something, okay, throw your spear at them or something. In reality, yeah, you'd just be standing on that rampart having nothing to do and being pretty bored. So, I don't know if I'd want to be a member of the Royal Guard, actually, but it would still be a pretty cool honor to, you know, actually stand and fight and defend Celestia herself. I mean, that would be pretty cool. I mean, I'm pretty sure that those two guards that are standing next to Celestia's throne are probably two of the most important Royal Guards there are, because I can't imagine that just anyone gets to do that. And that would still make being a member of the Royal Guard pretty cool, but it would have been nice to have seen it the one time that they would have actually had something meaningful and cool to do, for it to not have ended in failure like the way it did. But again, that's just simply the story. It just simply had to be that way. This was not about the Royal Guard or anyone fighting their way out of this situation. I mean, I have another headcanon where one of my OCs, actually, I have multiples of them. I have another one that I have not yet introduced to you yet, which I probably will at some point. But let's just say that he goes to Cloudsdale and rallies like all the Pegasi and to like, we must fight together, my brothers and my friends. We must save Canterlot. And then has like this giant massive air cavalry charge thing, like this, you know, coming from like the sun, charging and diving on Canterlot and like trying to fight off all the changelings. And before they either get defeated or they win, the shield comes on and everything ends the way that it does in this show. Again, this is not the way that this story was meant to end. This is not the solution, the lesson they're trying to teach. They're trying to teach that love is all powerful and that love can help you get through things that you think you can't handle. I think actually the other thing is that there's actually maybe trying to show you what the difference between, you know, fake love is and what real love is. Because I'm gonna keep it short because I don't think it's very appropriate to talk about this at this time, but I think Chrysalis is meant to represent that fake, almost Hollywood love where you think this person cares about you and they have their best interest at heart, but they really don't. And then they're going to show you the love between Cadence and Shining Armor, which is obviously true love, and that both of these characters both love and care for each other a lot. I think one line I would have added to Shining Armor is when he gets woken up from the spell, it's like, oh, Cadence, I'm glad you're all right. You know, to show that he really does care about her. I'm sure he does, but it would have been reassuring to have a line like that just to show that he really does care about Cadence. But again, this is getting off topic. This is really meant to be the Royal Guard. And I guess in conclusion, the Royal Guard are still pretty cool to me. Maybe at one point we will get to see them be redeemed, the same way I hope that we get to see Celestia be redeemed and show that they are very formidable. They just weren't meant to win today. And you know, that happens in real world a lot. That, you know what, sometimes, yeah, we're not weak. We just weren't meant to win that day. So, I guess that's it. So, this is Blue Star. Stay strong and pony on. Blue Star out.